Welcome to English Podcast Flow. Get ready to boost your English while enjoying fun and exciting stories. Let's improve together, one episode at a time.
One introduction. Imagine the sound of a dire wolf. It is a sound that has been silent for more than 10,000 years. Dire wolves lived on Earth a very long time ago during the Ice Age, but they are not here now. They are extinct. This means the entire species has disappeared forever, or maybe not forever. A company named Colossal Biosciences thinks it might be possible to hear that sound again. This company is based in Dallas, Texas, in the United States. Colossal Biosciences works with advanced science. They use genetic science, which studies genes. Genes are like tiny instructions inside every living cell. They tell the body how to grow and what it will be like. For example, genes decide the color of an animal's fur or the shape of its teeth. Colossal Biosciences uses this genetic science for a special purpose. They are trying to bring extinct animals back to life. This process is sometimes called de-extinction. They focus on animals that disappeared from our planet many, many years ago. The dire wolf is one of the animals they are working on bringing back. Dire wolves were large, powerful animals. They were related to the wolves we know today, but were also different in important ways. They lived in North America thousands of years ago. Colossal Biosciences wants to use their science and technology to create new animals that are very similar to these ancient dire wolves. To do this, they need to understand the dire wolf's unique genetic code. They get information from very old bones, called fossils, found buried in the earth. Some of these fossils are tens of thousands of years old. Scientists carefully take out ancient genetic material from these fossils. They also compare this old information to the genes of modern gray wolves that are alive today. This work uses new tools and techniques in genetics. The company believes this science might create new ways to help conservation in the future. Conservation is about protecting animals and their natural homes. The project takes information from the distant past and uses modern tools. The aim is to see if an animal like the dire wolf can exist again. This is a large scientific effort. It explores the possibilities of genetic technology and asks questions about extinction. 2. Finding old bones. To bring back the dire wolf, scientists first needed to learn about its body from the inside. The most important information is in its genes. Genes are like tiny instructions inside every living thing. They decide things like how an animal looks and grows. All these instructions together are called DNA. Think of DNA like a recipe book for making an animal. Understanding the dire wolf's DNA recipe book was the first big step. This special code held the secrets of the lost animal. Without reading this book, it was impossible to try and make a dire wolf again. Dire wolves died out a very long time ago, more than 10,000 years back, so scientists could not just look at a living dire wolf. They had to search for parts of dire wolves that died long ago. These old parts are called fossils. Fossils are often bones that stayed safe in the ground for thousands of years. Finding the right dire wolf fossils was very important work. Not all old bones are useful. They needed bones that still had something special inside them, ancient DNA. Inside some very old bones, tiny pieces of the original DNA recipe book can still exist. This is called ancient DNA. It is very rare and hard to find. It is also difficult to work with because it is often damaged. Scientists searched carefully and found two important fossils with this ancient DNA. One was a piece of bone about 13,000 years old. Imagine something hidden for that long. Another find was a very small bone from inside a dire wolf's ear. This tiny ear bone was even older, about 72,000 years old. From these two fossils, scientists carefully took out the ancient DNA. This needed special tools and very clean labs. After getting the ancient DNA, the next job was to read the recipe book. Scientists had many small, broken pieces of DNA. They used computers and special methods to put these pieces together, like finishing a very old puzzle. They wanted to see the complete DNA code, the full recipe book. This complete code is called the genome. From the two old fossils, they were able to read two dire wolf genomes. They checked that these two codes were similar. Reading the genome was a huge success. It gave them the information they needed. Now, scientists had the blueprint for the dire wolf. They could start to compare it to the DNA of animals living today, like the gray wolf. This comparison would show what made dire wolves different. Finding and reading the ancient DNA from those very old bones was a necessary step. It opened the door for the next part of the project. The journey could continue. 3. Changing the genes. Scientists now had the complete DNA information, the genome, for the ancient dire wolf. Reading the DNA was important, but it was only the start. The next big question was, what made a dire wolf different from the wolves we see today? They needed to understand its unique genes. To find the answers, the scientists did a lot of comparing. They took the dire wolf DNA information they got from the old bones. They put it side by side with the DNA information from many living wolves, especially the gray wolf. Gray wolves are relatives of the dire wolf, but they are not the same. The scientists looked very closely at the long strings of letters that make up DNA. They searched for parts of the DNA code that were the same in both old dire wolf samples. Then they looked for where these dire wolf parts were different from the DNA of all the living wolves. This careful comparison showed them the important genes. Genes are tiny instructions inside every living thing. They control everything like eye color, size, and how an animal behaves. By comparing the DNA, scientists found the specific genes that gave the dire wolf its special characteristics, or traits. These were the instructions that made a dire wolf a dire wolf. The main goal was not to make a perfect copy of an animal that lived thousands of years ago. The plan was to recreate the key traits that made the dire wolf special and important in its environment. Scientists identified several important characteristics. They wanted the new animals to have the large size of the old dire wolves. They also looked at genes for the type of fur coat the dire wolf might have had. Some information suggests it could have been a white coat. Another key trait was the sound the dire wolf made, like its special howl. To bring back these traits, scientists used modern technology. This technology lets them make very small, exact changes to DNA. They started with DNA taken from the cells of a common gray wolf. Using their knowledge from the comparison, they edited the gray wolf's DNA. In total, they made 20 specific changes. These 20 edits were made across 14 different genes inside the gray wolf DNA. Even though these seem like small changes in the long DNA code, they can create big differences in the final animal. These changes were carefully chosen. They aimed to give the new wolf pups the large body, the special coat, and the unique sounds of the lost dire wolf. This edited DNA was now ready for the next stage of the project. 4. Making baby wolves. Scientists now had the special DNA, the instructions needed to build a dire wolf, but DNA alone is not enough to make an animal. The next step was to use this DNA to create baby wolves. First, they needed egg cells. Egg cells are tiny parts inside a female animal that can grow into a baby. Scientists used egg cells from dogs. Before using these egg cells, they did something important. They took out the dog DNA that was already inside each egg cell. This made the egg cells empty. They were ready to receive the new dire wolf DNA. Then scientists carefully put the changed dire wolf DNA into these empty egg cells. This process is very delicate work. Once the dire wolf DNA was inside, the egg cell could start to grow. It began to divide and become a tiny baby wolf. This very early stage of a baby animal is called an embryo. This tiny embryo needed a mother to grow inside, but there are no living dire wolf mothers, so scientists needed another animal to carry the embryo. This animal is called a surrogate mother. A surrogate mother carries the baby for the whole pregnancy until it is born. Choosing the right surrogate mother was important. Scientists were not sure how big the dire wolf embryos would grow. They wanted the mother animal to be healthy and safe while carrying the baby. For this reason, they chose large dogs to be the surrogate mothers. The dogs were hound mixes, which are quite big. Their size meant they could likely carry the growing dire wolf babies without problems. Next, the scientists took the tiny dire wolf embryos. They carefully placed these embryos inside the bodies of the surrogate mother dogs. The embryos were now in a safe place where they could grow. The mother dogs carried the embryos inside them, just like they would carry their own puppies. The embryos grew bigger over time. Everyone watched and waited. They hoped the plan would work and the surrogate mothers would have healthy babies. After the waiting period, the plan worked. The surrogate mother dogs gave birth. New baby wolves entered the world. This was a very important moment. It showed that the scientists' methods could work. It was a big step towards bringing back an animal that disappeared thousands of years ago. 5. The new dire wolves. The project was successful. The first new dire wolf pups arrived. This was a very exciting moment. 2 male pups were born first. Their names are Romulus and Remus. These names come from an old Roman story about twin brothers raised by a wolf. Romulus and Remus were born on October 1st, 2024. They are healthy and growing bigger every day. In January 2025, a younger sister joined them. The team named her Kessie. Now there are 3 young dire wolves living together. These pups are very special. They were made using science and DNA from ancient dire wolf bones. They are the first animals like this on Earth in more than 10,000 years. These new wolves will grow very large as adults. Scientists expect each wolf could become as long as 6 feet from nose to tail. That is longer than many tall people. They could also weigh about 150 pounds. This is much heavier than most large pet dogs. They are expected to have features of the old dire wolves, like their large size and thick fur coats. They might also make the special deep howling sounds of ancient dire wolves. The 3 pups, Romulus, Remus, and Kessie, will not live free in the wild. The world today is different, and it is not safe for them to be released. Instead, they have a special, safe home planned. They will live their whole lives on a very large piece of land called a preserve. It is huge, 2,000 acres big. That gives them a lot of space to explore and run. A strong fence goes all around the preserve. This fence keeps the wolves safe inside and keeps dangers out. The exact location of the preserve is kept secret. This secrecy helps protect the animals from people who might disturb them. Romulus, Remus, and Kessie will receive excellent care in their special home. Some people say they are very lucky animals. The preserve is designed to be like a natural environment. It has places for them to make dens which are like homes for wolves. There are trees and open spaces. There are also special huts. The wolves can go inside these huts to shelter if the weather becomes very bad, like during heavy rain or snow. They will always have enough food and fresh water. A veterinarian, an animal doctor, is available to help them at any time, 24 hours a day. This means if they get sick or hurt, help is always ready. They will live their lives in this safe place with lots of space and everything they need to be healthy and comfortable. The team watches them closely. 6. Other lost animals. The company working on the dire wolves has plans for other animals too. These animals disappeared from the world a long time ago. They are extinct just like the dire wolf was. But the scientists want to use their special knowledge and technology to bring some of them back to life. The dire wolf is just the beginning of their work. One very famous lost animal is the woolly mammoth. Mammoths were very large animals, similar to elephants but covered in thick, long hair. This hair helped them stay warm. They also had layers of fat under their skin. They lived during the Cold Ice Age. Colossal Biosciences is working hard on the Mammoth project. They have already used genetic science to give some small animals, like mice, certain mammoth features like ways to stay warm. This is a small step, but it shows their work is moving forward. The company hopes to have the first woolly mammoths born perhaps in the year 2028. It is a very big goal for them. Another animal they hope to bring back is the dodo. The dodo was a bird that lived on an island called Mauritius. It could not fly. Dodos became extinct many hundreds of years ago after people arrived on their island. Now scientists are studying dodo genetics. They hope their science can help create dodos again one day. There is also the Tasmanian tiger, which is sometimes called the thylacine. This animal looked a bit like a dog with stripes on its back. It was not really a tiger. It was a marsupial, which means the mothers carried their babies in a pouch, like kangaroos do. It lived in Australia and Tasmania. The last known Tasmanian tiger died almost 100 years ago. Colossal wants to bring this animal back too. Scientists think bringing back the Tasmanian tiger could help the natural environment in Tasmania. It was an important hunter, a predator at the top of the food chain there. To work on the mammoth, the dodo, and the Tasmanian tiger, the scientists use similar ideas and tools. They need to find old DNA from these lost animals. They study this DNA carefully. They compare it to the DNA of animals living today, like elephants for mammoths or certain dogs for the Tasmanian tiger. Then they use special technology to make changes to the living animal's DNA. It is the same kind of genetic science they used for the dire wolf project. The main goal is always to create animals that are very much like the ones that disappeared. Bringing back different animals uses the same basic science, but each animal is a unique and difficult challenge for the company. 7. Asking questions. Bringing back animals that disappeared a long time ago is exciting for many people. But this new science also makes people ask important questions. Is it safe? Is it the right thing to do? Some people think about movies where scientists bring back giant dinosaurs or other old animals. In those stories, things often go wrong. This makes some people worry about doing similar things in the real world with animals like the dire wolf. Experts who study life and science also have questions. They say that nature is very complex. It has many parts that work together in ways we do not always understand completely. Changing even small parts like genes might cause big problems later. These experts worry that when people try to control nature, nature can surprise them. There might be results that nobody expected. What kind of problems could happen? Changing genes might do more than just bring back old looks or sounds. Genes often do many different jobs in the body. Changing a gene for fur color might also change something else, like how the animal fights sickness. We might create animals that have many medical problems and do not live healthy lives. It is hard to know everything that might happen when we change an animal's DNA. Some also worry about creating animals that are too strong or too successful. Could a new animal cause problems for the other animals living nearby? These are serious questions to think about. Not everyone agrees on the answers. Some people believe this science is a wonderful new tool. They think it could help nature and maybe even fix some damage that people have caused. Others feel it is too risky. They think we should be more careful about changing living things in such big ways. They believe we might be creating problems that we cannot fix later. There are many different views on whether bringing back lost animals is a good idea. People continue to discuss these questions as the science moves forward. It is important to think about the possible good things and the possible bad things. 8. Saving animals now. Bringing back lost animals like the dire wolf is only one part of the plan. The company doing this work believes the science they use can also help animals that are alive today. They see their work creating new tools and new ways to help with conservation. Conservation means protecting animals and the places they live. Many animals around the world are in danger right now. The science used for the dire wolf project is already being used to help one of these animals, the red wolf. Red wolves are an endangered species. This means there are not many red wolves left in the wild. Colossal used the same ideas from their dire wolf work to help the red wolves. They successfully cloned 4 new red wolf pups. Why is this important? When there are only a small number of animals left, like the red wolves, they can have problems. All the animals might be very similar. This lack of difference in their genes is sometimes called a genetic bottleneck. It means there is not enough variety for the species to stay healthy in the future. Adding new animals through cloning can bring fresh genes into the group. These 4 new wolves could help make the whole red wolf population stronger and healthier by adding more genetic variety. This shows how the tools created for de-extinction projects can be used right now. They can help species that are close to disappearing forever. The goal is not just to bring back animals from the past. It is also about stopping other animals from becoming extinct today. Sadly, many animals are disappearing quickly. Some experts think that the Earth could lose 30% of its different types of life by the year 2050. This is a very serious problem. Developing new science gives us more ways to fight this loss, but new science is not the only answer. We also need to protect the places where animals live. These places are called habitats. Many habitats are in danger. Forests are cut down and wild areas are used for farming or building. Even protected areas like national parks sometimes face threats like drilling for oil. Protecting these habitats is very important for saving animals. Conservation work also needs money. Often, there is not enough money to do all the important work needed to protect endangered animals and their homes. So, while new technology offers hope, we also need to support traditional conservation efforts. We need to save wild places and fund the work that protects the animals living there now. Using both new science and older methods gives animals the best chance.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. It really helps our channel grow and reach more English learners like you. By subscribing, you'll never miss a new episode, and by liking the video, you're letting us know you want more helpful content. Thank you for your support. It means so much to us.